All right, let's go. I'm excited for this one. Coach Wes, Western Oregon University's head basketball coach, previously the associate head coach at Northern Arizona in Flagstaff Division I basketball program. Now at Western Oregon, Division II, the only Division II school now in Oregon. So, Coach Wes, I appreciate you joining us.
Yeah, I appreciate you having me. Happy birthday as well.
Hey, I appreciate it. Yeah, I'm not a huge fan of getting older, but it's better than the other option. Well, let's just start. Maybe give us a little background, kind of a little bit more, Coach, of your playing maybe, and get that sweat and that nice warm office of yours, and tell us a little bit about your background.
Yeah, for me, finishing this year up, I've had 20 years of experience between playing and coaching. I played at two different Division III universities, in Methodist University in Fayetteville, North Carolina, and then Penn State University of Altoona, in Altoona, Pennsylvania. From there, I had a chance to play professionally, which is obviously a huge blessing. And then right from there is when I jumped into coaching. I started off coaching at a small 2A high school where I played at in Creedmoor, North Carolina. I had no aspirations of being in college. I honestly felt like I was going to be like a varsity basketball coach. Um, from there, I was afforded opportunity. I got a job at Miami-Dade, which is a nationally ranked junior college. Honestly, I was just blessed to have the opportunity. And there, had some high-level players. We had Darnell Dodson, who went to Kentucky. We had Will Coleman, who went to Memphis. James Beatty went to Rutgers. Trevor Mbakwe went to Minnesota. DeJuan Millen went to Fordham. Robert Martina went to Manhattan. Anthony Phillips went to Western Carolina. Long story short, 10 guys went to Division I, and all 13 guys got scholarships. So from there, I was afforded opportunity to go be an assistant Division II wise at St. Andrews Presbyterian College. It's a small Division II, Laurinburg, North Carolina. It was a great spot for me, and it's the reason why I fell in love with this level. It gives you almost everything that you would want, competitive greatness, high-level academics, and it gave me opportunity to really find out who I was. From there, my mentor hired me at North Carolina Central University. His name is Lavelle Moulton. Championship level program. Last 6 years, guys on the call, they went to 5 NCAAs and the NIT. That's almost unheard of. So success follows coach wherever he goes. He's been huge in my career and really changed the trajectory of it for me. From there, I went to Northern Arizona. First time I'd ever been on the West Coast, guys, to be honest. But I am a believer that if you are trying to be great at what you want to do, you got to break your comfort level. And I'm not saying I was comfortable at Central, but I grew up, 20 miles down the road. So I went across country. I was with Jack Murphy for 6 years. We had a lot of success. Coach ended up promoting me to be the associate head coach there. I was one of the youngest ones in the country. And I think anytime that you're being successful, people take notice, and they want to take notes and kind of see what's going on with it while you're successful. And it afforded me opportunity here at Western Oregon. This is a big time spot for me. I believe in making where you are big time, no matter where it is. We had a great season last year. We went 19-8. We led our league and we led the country in some statistical categories. Most importantly, our guys that came through the program graduated. We got some high-level players. And I'm fortunate because the guys on this call, from talking to Brand, it seems like you guys are kind of cut from the same cloth as me as far as like people that want information, people want to know and understand things. So if I can give off one thing that can help any of you guys, that's the reason that I'm here. And that's the reason that I coach, like I said, to be honest. And I think that's why I've had longevity, is because I've just always been in there about helping people. That's always been my thing. So I hope that was a short but, kind of detailed intro about a little bit about me and who I am.
I appreciate that. And helping people, I appreciate that. You're helping me, you're helping these guys. Like you mentioned, there's a lot of guys on this call that are trying to get better, and that's why they tune in. And a couple of your players wanted to drop in and listen in. So guys that I've worked with. I know a lot of the people in your program, RJ and Antone, those guys, and Cameron Cranston, and some of those guys have been through Max Hoops events. So definitely going to be following and supporting you guys down there in Monmouth, and I'm really looking forward to it. Where did you play when you played professionally, Coach?
I played in BBG Hereford, so that's in Second Regionalliga.
Okay.
The west part of Second Regionalliga.
And how long were you there?
8 months.
8 months.
Yeah, I'll tell you a quick one. It might be a little bit off, but I had a contract to go back, and the only place that I could get in the gym and work out was my old high school, and my high school coach was still the coach there, and the only thing he told me was like, if I wanted to come work out, I had to bring some of the young guys in there with me, because I don't like tooting my horn, but I worked at it. I really did work at my craft. So he wanted those guys to kind of see what it took. So that's how I got into the gym. And long story short, from having those young guys in the gym with me, I kind of fell into this is what I love to do. So I called those guys. I canceled the contract to go back to the same team, and I started coaching in my high school for free.
Wow, I love a story like that where you started out as a volunteer assistant and now you're young and a head D2 college coach. That's incredible. That's a great story, and just going from spot to spot and making the big time where you're at. And now Monmouth I think that's a great job. I think it's obviously it's been rolling, and you're going to keep it rolling for sure.
Successful.
It's been successful. They've been good. They've been good there the last probably 5-6 years. They've been really good.
Mm-hmm.
And now you got guys that are coming in and going to keep it rolling. What was the name you said your mentor at NCCU?
Lavelle Moten.
What were the biggest things that you took from him that you still use in your coaching? What are some of the philosophies or thoughts on the game that you picked up from him?
I mean, I run our program just like he ran it, because I was just so impressed from the outside looking in. It's no secret why they win. It's their culture. Their culture drives everything. And if you ever been a part of a program for me one day, you see and understand it. The thing I took away from coach was preparation, and we take great pride in our preparation here. That's how we practice. That's how we scout. That's how we watch film. That's our everyday, how we lift. Everything there is calculated. We try to do the same stuff. Try to be really, really detail oriented in everything that we do. We feel like here the details separate the good from the great. When you're looking at a league as competitive as ours, it's like 80% of the games are going to be won by 4 points or less. So if you're prepared every day and you work like that, you're going to put yourself on the plus side of that. And that's why I feel like we've had a chance to be successful here. The guys have really bought into that. And it's probably the biggest thing I took away from Central. There was never a game, no matter who we played, whether it be Kansas, Marquette, that I didn't feel like we were the most prepared team to the battlefield that night. And I try to take it with us now.
I love that. Detail-oriented. And like you said, games, there's such a small margin between winning and losing. I mean, like you said, 4 points, probably 80% of the games. So if you're not handling those little things, and that's where preparation does come in, because I'm a firm believer that success is when preparation meets opportunity, and you prepare every night and you get to play, 20 sometimes a year, hopefully 30 sometimes. And that's kind of, like you said, the battlefield of when you get to show off that preparation. But I think that's a great thing to take away from a mentor, is that detail oriented, the difference between good and great. You can be good and cut corners, and if you have talent, but if you want to be great, you have to make sure you do all those extra little things and prepare fully.
I mean, the details of everything matter. I'll tell you a couple of quick things for us. Like the guys, I'm looking at the call, see some name. If you're able to have your video on, have your video on.
Come on, RJ. Come on, Tone.
If you're able to, like, if you're doing something, that's cool. But if you're not, like tap in. Let's see some faces. You know what I'm saying?
There's Andrew, New Jersey's finest. There's some
there we
guys
go.
popping up there. RJ's getting that hair fixed up. What's up, Greg? Some guys may be on cell phones, not able to, but
that's cool.
You guys.
So a couple of things for us. Like, we got a winner and loser in everything that we do. That's every drill. Everything is a winner and a loser because that's what life is. That's what basketball is. It ain't no participation trophies and none of that. So if you lose in everything you do, for us, you got to run a 22, down, back, down. And one of the things the guys on the call to hear me say, start behind the line like a champion. I won't blow the whistle if a dude has one toe over that line. And then when we're running our sprints, either myself or one of my assistants will be on the other baseline. Sometimes both of them on both baselines. And if a dude comes up 1 inch short of that line, we run it again and we double it. Because that's the difference in winning or losing. Just that small inch. So we always talk about fighting for that inch and just being disciplined. Because there's going to be a time where you can cut a corner, and the people who try to cut corners, they get cut short. So if you're trying to win a championship, if you're trying to be the best player you can, it might sound like a small detail, like, oh, coach tripping about the line. You're going to meet a team that's been touching that line or going past that line. They're going to kick you behind. So we try to be that team that touches those lines and takes care of those small details.
How you do anything is how you do everything. And if you don't touch the line during practice, you're going to come up short in the game. You're going to cut corners in the classroom. So I'm a firm believer in that, saying how you do anything is how you do everything. And if you do cut the corner, not touch the line, not be disciplined enough to get to the line. And I also think good players touch the line, but great players make sure everybody touches the line. So if you're one of the leaders, not only do you have to get there, and I think the Jordan documentary showed a lot, because they showed Jordan, not only was he winning the sprints and touching the line, but he was motivating everybody else to get their ass in gear and make sure they were touching the line too.
Yeah, and we'll talk. I got a feeling we'll talk about some of our culture and stuff like that, but those things help you hold your team and your teammates accountable. Like, if you're coming up short of the line, if you're missing the time, you can't say nothing to your teammate. But if you're the dude that's finishing in first, you're going past the line. Now when your teammate comes up short or he's slacking, you can call him out. And that goes back to one of our core values, accountability. But it starts with doing your own job. Everybody's a leader, only if you lead only yourself. If you don't lead none of your teammates, you're still a leader. You got to lead yourself.
So you mentioned accountability, Coach. Talk to me. Can you fill us in on the other core values of your program?
Yeah, so we already talked about details. We talked about accountability. One for us is energy. Energy has passion, enthusiasm, all that stuff. Like, my guys know that every shoot around, every practice, like I coached it, like we going to the Final Four, like every single day. Like, I leave practice like I'm drenched in sweat. So when we talk about energy, enthusiasm, passion, like that's everybody talking, that's everybody clapping each other up, that's everybody staying together. But we tell the guys all the time, like, if you're on a team, high school, college, like, you're fortunate, you're blessed. There's people that you could look to in your phone that would kill for the opportunity to be on a team, to have a locker. Like, there's people, I'm 38 years old, there's people in my hometown that I played with that deliver flat screens at Walmart for a living. So how can we not come in here with passion and energy and effort? So when I walk in the gym, if we're going at 3 o'clock, like, that gym better be rocking when I get in there. Guys better be encouraging their teammates, clapping each other up. Then when the whistle blows, we all break it down to the circle. But energy is another one for us that's non-negotiable. Another part of ours is appreciation. And I touched on that one a little bit already, but I want these guys in our locker room to know that less than 1% of guys from high school going to college, much less guys that go on to play for scholarships. So I want those guys to be incredibly appreciative of their family, their high school coaches, their AAU coaches, our university, everybody that's put them on that platform to be successful. We say please and thank you as a staple in our program. Like, you go talk to your professor, you go talk to our AD, Miss Randy, it's please and thank you. Like, that stuff goes a long way. And it goes right back into our last one, appreciation. And the last one for us is toughness. I would struggle to coach guys that aren't tough just because of the background that I have. So one of the things we look for is toughness. And toughness is measurable in a lot of ways for us. But, like, RJ's on the call. RJ redshirted for this year. He goes into his first college game and knocks down 2 free throws with 15 seconds left in the game. Like, that's toughness. Like, that's a tough kid. Grabbing a rebound with 2 hands in traffic. Like, that's toughness. Like, if you got an 8 o'clock class and you show up at 7:50 consistently, that's toughness. Like, that's the stuff that we look for in the guys that I'm going to recruit. Like, it's just that toughness piece. Because that's the only thing that's going to get you out of the places that we got to get out of on the road with wins is toughness. The only thing that's going to get you out. So those are the 5 things we look for and we talk about in our culture all the time.
I definitely think that those show in your culture, and the kids that I know fit accountability, details, energy, appreciation, toughness. And I think toughness, like you said, it's not just forearm shivering somebody or a cheap shot. That's not tough. Tough is not getting screened, right? Like, not standing up, you hit contact, oh, I got screened. Tough is fighting through a screen. Tough is when you're tired, you still touch the line. Tough is when you don't want to show up, but you show up. And sometimes toughness is mistaken for that kind of cheap shot mentality, or just, knocking somebody around. That's maybe part of it, not letting somebody come across the lane, but there is so much that mental toughness that comes in too.
Yeah, I add in one thing that I forgot when we talk about toughness. Like, in our locker room, we got a culture wall. So, like, you walk into our team space and guys got lockers and locker tags, but up on this side is a culture wall, and it's about 20, 25 words that we talk about on a daily basis. Like, any of our guys, if you said one of those words, they know exactly what you were talking about. They could give you a quick minute definition on what it means for us. And one of those things that's on our wall is every day. There's a certain toughness associated with showing up every day. So for us, that means sick, tired, indifferent. Your girlfriend ain't text you back. You got a stomach cold. You still show up and you still get the work done. You still do your job, because the guy beside you, we're going to hold him accountable, do his job too. And all the stuff that we talk about, it starts with me. I'm not above any of that. If I'm sick, I still got to show up and be the head coach. I still got to bring energy. I still got to show up early. I still got to stay late. But one of the things on the culture wall is every day. No days off, but you got to show up and you got to do the work every day.
I think that's great. Every day, no matter how you feel, get up, dress up, show up, and never give up. That's something that I say a lot, because no matter how you feel, we're looking, at Pacific, and I think you probably foxhole guys. Some of you guys are young. You might not know what a foxhole guy is, but a foxhole is something when you're in war, you dig into a foxhole, and you don't want the guy that's supposed to be watching your ass to fall asleep when it's his turn, right? So if you want a foxhole guy, that when we say that, we mean somebody that's dependable, that shows up even when you don't feel good. You show up, you give it everything you have, you're enthusiastic. There is no neutral in energy. I love that energy is one of your core values, because it's contagious.
You gotta have it, man.
You gotta have it. If you're a player and you don't bring energy and passion to the game, you're not going to play for me or Coach West, because you don't have that enthusiasm. And I love appreciation ties in with that. Be thankful. If you're playing in high school, you're blessed. If you're playing in college, you're extremely blessed. There's kids that would love to be able to shoot and play and just get to do what you guys are doing. So I think that's a great core value. I know I don't take it for granted that I get to coach college basketball.
Right.
And I don't want my players to take it for granted, because it can be gone. I think that's a lesson we've kind of learned through this pandemic, is you got to love it every minute, because it could be taken away from you at any time.
Yeah, I show up. I'm still the 2A volunteer high school assistant. Like, somebody else could be sitting in this chair just as easy as I could. So how could I not show up with energy to do the job? So
I love that. Talk to us a little bit about how like recruiting. So talk to us a little bit about how you're handling recruiting during the pandemic, and kind of, obviously you're looking for kids that fit those 5 core values, but talk to me a little bit about how you're able to find talent and recruit, especially during a worldwide pandemic.
I feel like it's everything else. You're trying to be creative. I'm a no stones unturned type of dude. Almost every video link that gets sent to my email, at some point I'll watch it, even if it's only for 45 seconds. I don't know how many coaches do that. I get about 100 a day. So I'm a rock trying to find it under the hard place type guy. So we do that. Me and my staff is constantly watching film. We've been watching these live streams of some of these tournaments. I was just watching one from Carolina and Texas at my house this weekend. So we're doing that. And then also, you know, I'm leaning on our network. You know, I built up a ton of connections, not only through the Pacific Northwest, but on the West Coast. So people are constantly calling me like, hey, I just played against this guy. Hey, you need to check him out. So we kind of been doing it like that. Recruiting, I don't know if this answers the question, but I was going to tell you a little bit of some. I see some of the stuff that we look for in recruiting. First thing we look for, I already talked about toughness. The second one is winners. The second thing that we look for in guys that don't play at Western are winners. I'm a winner. I want to be surrounded by winners, and I think it's something that translates to any level. Whether you play 1A in Washington or 100A in Portland, whatever. If you won, you understand how to win. So that's what we look for. We're more adapt to recruit a guy that averages 10 points a game on the state championship team than a guy that averages 20 points a game on a mediocre team or a team under 500. Because people who win, they know and understand those details, and they're also willing to do stuff that sometimes guys that, I'm not gonna call people losers, but people who lose don't do. Like, I'm looking on the card, I see my other point guard, I see Tone down there. When I took over here, I recruited RJ and I recruited Tone. Tone won two, I think he won two at Zilla. He won 2 state championships. And that was huge for me. I got to know him as a kid, and he fit everything else. And then he was a winner. And then RJ, him and his dad, I mean, they had a great run at Woodburn, and like they won the conference championship. That's stuff that I look for because they have attributes that I don't even have to teach, or I don't have to coach when they get here, because they already know what winning is about. Like, I don't got to tell those 2 guys all about showing up every day. They know. I don't got to tell them that they need to go lift hard. They know. That's what winners do. They're just willing to do that little extra bit. So like, if I say something to RJ or Tone about touching the line, I don't even have to. They know the difference. So then we got that one. So we got toughness, we got winners. The third one for us is incredibly competitive. Like, I'm incredibly competitive. Like, if we get on a treadmill beside each other in the hotel, like we racing, like I'm competitive. I gotta have dudes around me on my staff and in our locker room who are just as competitive as me. Like, there can be times where we've had practice this year and we go through our normal progression, shell, some other stuff, but our guys are so competitive. We got this drill called kill drill. You essentially got to get a kill. For us is 3 stops in a row. You got to get a perfect kill to get out of the drill. There'll be times when we would practice, that would be the only drill we did at practice because the guys were so competitive. They'd always be like, yo, coach, they would get on the line, run their 22, hit the line, baseline, come back, coach, let's run it back. Those are the kind of dudes I want around me. I want people who are incredibly competitive. Like, they're not showing up, ducking anybody else like that. Almost every guy in our locker room came to me this year and was like, Wes, who are we playing? Like, who are we playing this year? They want to play the best. So, incredibly competitive. So we want guys that are tough, who are winners, who are incredibly competitive. The third one is fourth one, guys, if you're taking notes. We like skill set. I want guys that can dribble, pass, and shoot. For sure for our system at the 1 through the 4, because our 4 is essentially like a wing. Like, I know, Brad, you know Cam, but Cam, for us, probably the best guy at his position in the league. He's a wing that we play at 4 because he's tough enough to get in there and stick his nose in and rebound. But we want guys that can dribble, pass, and shoot at all 5 positions. We were one of the most efficient teams in transition this year in the country because we had guys that could tough enough to rebound the ball, and then all 5 of them could get it pushing, and we were gone. So that's what we look for too. And the last piece is character. That's just as big as all your talent and everything else like that is your character. You know, the back of our warm-up shirts says brothers on the back. When we come to the huddle, 9 out of 10 times we're either saying together or we're saying brothers. My family is around our program. My son is 8, my daughter's 4. So it's important for me to have the most impeccable character dudes around my family. And that's what we have as far as like that character standpoint. I would never trade somebody who was a little bit more talented for character. It's a mistake I've made before that I would never make again. The character aspect is so huge. And when you got all five of those, you got to have all five to play at Western, to be honest. It can't be 4.5. It can't be 4. It can't be 3.75. You got to have all five of those things. That box got to be checked. Because if not, you're going to struggle. So if you're talented and you're skilled, but you got great character, but you're not competitive, these guys will eat you alive in practice. So you got to have all five of those things to play here. And with that being said, we're not for everybody. I'm not for everybody. Some guys don't want to show up. Some people might be scared if you tell them, hey, you got to show up and practice hard and play and show up with energy every day. And you got to go to the weight room and lift. And you got to show up 10 minutes early for class. It ain't for everybody, but that's kind of how we do things. I hope Mario and Greg and T, I ain't scaring y'all, man, but.
No, these guys are ready. I know all the guys on the call. Tegan played for the state championship, 4A, biggest classification, goes to Gonzaga Prep. Mario's from the 808 over in Hawaii. Andrew Stack shot, 44% from three as a sophomore, made 72 of them out in Jersey. So these guys are winners, Greg. They're competitive, and I think that's a big one. Because if you're competitive, that means you're going to take care of business in the classroom. Because if you're not competitive, you're not going to – I mean, not only – I know when I was in student, I didn't want just an A. I wanted the highest grade in the class, because I knew that other kid was going to try to take my scholarship. And I didn't get a basketball scholarship to play, and I don't think you did either, Coach, D3. So the academic piece is so important. And if you're competitive, you're going to show up and you're going to try to do the best you can. Because if you're going to put your name on it, I know that's something for me. If I put my name on it, I'm not half-assing it. I'm going to do it 100% and do it the best I can because that's my name. I'm proud of my name.
Let me jump in with a couple of good points you just made right there. Like, when we talk about incredibly competitive, that's not a trait that you can turn off and on. It's not. So, like, academics, we expect our guys to show up and compete the same way. RJ, 3.8. Tony, 3.5. Like, we don't have to chase these guys around to get them to handle their business. Like, if you're going to compete, you can't tell me you're going to compete on the floor and then academically, like you're not going to show up and do anything over there. It don't even make no sense. You see what I'm saying? You got to show up there and you got to compete the same way. And then being competitive is a part of life. And that's another reason Tone and RJ, incredibly competitive, is on our culture wall, right? Is on the wall. Just like when you leave, when you get done playing here, to get a good job, you're going to have to compete. That pretty girl across campus, you're going to have to compete for her. If she's pretty, if she's ugly, then hey, but if she's pretty, then there's probably going to be some competition. You know what I'm saying? So like, we just try to get our guys always in the mindset, like everything is competition. Everything is competition. But yeah, I just wanted to throw that in right there, Brent.
No, I think that's great. I think that's a great point, though. I mean, and that is what's nice about the guys. I know for us at Pacific, we don't want to have to babysit. I mean, especially if academically, if you're not cutting it in the classroom, especially if you're, redshirting or, deeper on the bench, you need to make sure you're taking care of business in the classroom. And because how you do anything is how you do everything. And there's a correlation. I know the best teams I've been a part of, when I was at Southern Oregon University, we had a 3.52 team grade point average, which was the highest NAIA in the country. And we were ranked number 2 on the floor most of that season. So, I mean, I think there's a correlation because it is how you do anything is how you do everything. I also loved what you talked about, fighting for the inch, that inch. I think that's a great slogan, fight for the inch, because it is those details that matter. I thought that was a great point. I wanted to make sure I didn't let that one slip without reiterating. And you said kill, that's when you get 3 stops in a row. That's a kill.
3 stops in a row is a kill. We try to get 7 kills. We feel like if we can get 7 kills, we'll win the game.
7 in a game is the goal.
Yep.
If you can get 7, that would be, should win most games if you're getting 7 kills for sure.
Yeah, the thing we struggle with this year is we get 2 stops in a row and then and then and then we wouldn't get the kill.
They get a bucket or a couple in a row, but still, first year coach to come in, go 19-8. That's a great start. And now, I mean, I know as a competitive guy, what we've been talking about, that's not gonna. I mean, you're still gonna want to get better, obviously, and that's why you have guys that. So let me ask that about RJ. RJ redshirted, but he also got in a. Is there a minimum or a number of games you can play and still redshirt, or how does that work?
Yeah, so I was undecided about what I was going to do with our point guard position for a little bit. So he played in the first game. That's the only game he played in, though.
Okay.
So he's
But he
well
made a
underway in his
shot.
position. Yeah. But I trust him, though. He knows I trust him. You know, me and him came in, and Tone was on the call. Tone played as a freshman, and RJ had a red shirt. So I had to have a conversation with RJ. But I told him, like, hey, man, like, I believe in you. I trust you. Like, I had him on the floor his first college game. Like, he was out there because I believe in him, just like I believe in Tone. And I'm not going to bring anybody here that I don't believe in to the utmost level. That's why we do such due diligence in trying to find out if those guys have those 5 characteristics we look for.
And I know both those guys, like I said, both those I like to claim as Max Hoops guys because they are 2 of the good ones for sure. They take care of business in the classroom, and they make sure they're keeping their nose clean, not getting in trouble. So I definitely put my name behind those 2. I'm happy and proud to be in their corner and know they're going to have good careers down there. So
yeah,
glad they stayed close to home.
They are. Both of those guys are gonna end up being locker room guys for us. When I say locker room, like when it's all said and done and their careers on, there's gonna be images of them when you walk into our building, both of those guys will be there. I'm in love with my freshman class. Colin Woolman from Roseburg. Those 3 guys right there, I think they're all freaking studs. They play behind studs this year, and honestly, they got their butt kicked a lot of the days. But they also delivered some butt kickings too, to that black group. And because of it, all 3 of them got so much better during the year because it just goes back to that trait, being incredibly competitive. Like, just because we had dudes that was on all league, that didn't stop Tone and RJ from going at Dalvin, from going that road. It didn't stop them. They still went at them. And they didn't always come out on top, but they made sure they competed. And because of it, they got better to the point where I feel comfortable in the call saying that those guys right there are going to be the guys that are going to take us to another level of Western basketball.
For sure. I loved all 3 of those guys. We had Colin on campus, and if I would have got any one of those 3, that would have been a recruiting coup for the D3 level for sure. But all 3 standout students, character, everything we're looking for at Pacific. But I'm happy for him. I can't argue with the kid getting to go to a D2 school, especially with coaches. I've had the chance to talk to quite a few of your assistants. And one of them just got your coaching tree. He's moving on to a D1, right?
So Coach Jamestown's going to Cal State Bernardino.
That's right, yeah.
And then Coach Fish came with me from Northern Arizona, so he'll be back, and then we're going to make a hire here in the next couple of weeks, trying to make sure that that's the right fit for us from what we need to go forward.
For sure, that's awesome. Well, hey, I really appreciate you joining me. I'm going to go ahead and see if there's anybody. I'm going to open it up here, let these guys, maybe if they want to introduce themselves, say a little bit, but I'm going to go ahead. Coach, I really do appreciate your time. It was great getting to connect with you. Like I said, I'm an Oregon guy, born and raised, so I'm going to be supporting you guys and helping however I can. And if there's anything I can do, definitely reach out and let me know. So I appreciate it.
Yeah. Hey, Tone, let us see the back of that shirt you got on.
Can't quite see it.